Hi, today we're going to work on 6.6, solving equations with rational expressions. What I want you to do is I want you to go through all of the notes and read through them. I'm going to jump right to the problems. First of all, in order to distinguish between expressions and equations, equations have equal signs, expressions don't. Equations, you're solving for something. Equations, you don't. You just simplify. Well, this is x over 2 minus x over 3 equals 5, 6. What we're going to do is we are going to solve for x. But before we can solve for x, I personally don't like subtraction problems. So what I'm going to have you guys do is we're going to get rid of the subtraction sign because I don't like subtraction signs. So I'm going to change this. Storm, go down. My dog. Storm. I'm going to change this to addition, and I'm going to make this its opposite, okay? Another thing I don't like, we could do this problem two ways. We could get rid of the fraction if we wanted to, and that's what I'm going to do. When you have an equation, you can multiply the entire equation by the common denominator. So here's the common, or actually you're going to multiply the whole thing by the least common multiple. A number that 6 can go into, a number that 3 can go into, and a number that 2 can go into. Well, they can all go into 6. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 6, okay? And all right, so sorry. First of all, the way you're going to multiply is you're going to multiply the whole thing by 6. And by doing that, when you have an equation, it gets rid of the fractions. I don't like fractions, just like you guys don't like fractions. So the way you do this is this. You're going to take 6 and you're going to multiply it by x over 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times x is 3x. So I can do it in my head. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times x is 3x. Now you're going to take that 6 and you're going to multiply it by the next term. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times negative x is a negative 2x equals. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Now you're going to combine like terms. 3x minus 2x is x, so x equals 5. There's your answer. All righty. Now the next one is it is an expression. It is not an equation, which means you can't do what we just did. This one, you have to find a common denominator. So again, I don't like subtraction problems. So I'm going to change this to addition, and I'm going to make this its opposite. Now, I can't do what we just did because this is an expression. There is no equal sign. So I'm going to find a number that 2 and 3 both can go into, and that is 6. What I did for 2, I multiplied it by 3, it gave me 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top, that gives me 3x. Same thing with 3, I multiply it by 2, it gives me 6. I got to multiply the top by 2, that gives me a negative 2x. Now, I don't want to confuse you with a equal sign there, I'm just meaning that I'm combining them, so I'll just go underneath it. So my denominator is 6. So I get 3x plus a negative 2x gives me x, and that's it. Don't have to worry about it any further. Let's move to the next one. I want you to read through these. I'm going to actually do the problems with you so that way you can follow along. Again, this is an equation. Because it's an equation, I can get rid of the fractions. I don't like fractions just like you guys don't like fractions. So what I'm going to do is this. I was eating M&Ms. So sorry. Give me some energy. But because this is an equation, I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 14. The reason why I say 14 is because 7 can go into 14 and 14 can go into 14. These all have a denominator of 1. I don't necessarily need to put those there, but you could if you want to. I don't really need them there, so I'm going to erase them. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this whole thing by 14, just so that we get rid of the fraction. So I'm going to take that 14 and I'm going to multiply it by the first fraction. 14 times x over 7. 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 14 twice, 2 times x is 2x. So the first term is going to be 2x. Let me do this one more time in our heads. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 2 times x is 2x. Now I'm going to take that 14 and I'm going to multiply it by the next one. 14 divided by 14 is 1. 1 times x is 1x. Equals 14 times 22. Good heavens, I don't know. So 22 times 14, I'll do the math over here. That's 88. Put a 0 for a placeholder. That's 2 and that's 2. 8, 10, 3. That's 308. Big O number. And then I'm going to take the 14 and I'll multiply it by x. So that's 14x. Now I want to combine all like terms. I want to put x's on one side, numbers on the other. But before I do that, I want to look at each side of the equation and combine if I can. This one here, I can combine 2x plus 1x is 3x equals 308 plus 14x. Now, I want to put my x's on one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 14x from both sides because my goal is to find out what x is. So on this side, I have 308, and on this side, I have a negative 11x. Now, right, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah. So now I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 11. So I get x equals, and that's a negative 11. It might go in there evenly. I'm going to use a calculator just to see if it does. 308 divided by 11. It goes in there 28 times. So that's going to be a negative 28. All right, let's go to the next one. Same thing, it is a fraction, but I don't like subtraction problems. So this is what I highly recommend you do. Change this to addition, make the negative here, but remember, because it's a binomial, you've got to distribute it. If it makes your life easier, just rewrite the problem. Plus 5, and that's going to give me a negative 2m, and that's going to give me a positive 3 equals 6 over 5. I don't like subtraction problems because they can cause so many issues. All right. So now what I'm going to do, because this is a equation, it's an equation, I'm going to get rid of the fraction. So I'm going to multiply it by its common denominator. So they both have a 5. So 15. 15 would be the closest number that they can both go into. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 15. 15 times the first fraction. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times m is 5m. Let me just make sure. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 times m is 5m. Now I'm going to take the 15 and times it by here. 15 divided by 5 is 3. I'm going to take that 3 and I have to multiply it by negative 2m plus 3. I will actually distribute it later. Now I'm going to take that 15 and I'll multiply it by here. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. Now what I have to do is distribute the 3. And so I get 5m. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6m. 3 times 3 is 9 equals 18. You want to combine all like terms possible. So I get negative m plus 9 equals 18. I want to try to get m by itself, so I'm going to minus 9 from both sides. And you get negative m equals 9. Now I want to get m by itself, so I'm going to divide by negative 1. And m is equal to negative 9. And there's your answer. All right, let's keep on moving. Next one. All right, again, read through here for me, please. Let's just jump right over here. Same thing here. We got to multiply. I'm going to multiply the whole thing by the common denominator. And remember, this has got a 1 here. And remember, I don't like subtraction problems, so I'm going to change this to addition and make that its opposite. Okay? So, here we go. So I'm going to multiply the whole thing. The common denominator is going to be x plus 1. So I'm going to take this whole thing and I'll multiply it by the first term. That's going to be 1 times x plus 1. All right? I'll change different colors so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take that now and I'm going to multiply it by this one. X plus 1 divided by x plus 1 is 1. 1 times a negative 2 is a negative 2. Okay? Equals. Again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it by this last term. X plus 1 divided by x plus 1 is 1. 1 times 2x is 2x. Now, combine all 3 things. I get x plus 1 minus 2 equals 2x. Again, I don't like subtraction problems, but this one isn't bad. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. Remember, you want to get x's on one side, numbers on the other. So I'm going to minus x from both sides. And I get negative 1 equals x. All right, and that's it. So x equals negative 1. Now, there's something tricky here. You must check your answers. You know why? If x actually was equal to negative 1, look what happens here. If x was negative 1, that would give you 0 in the denominator. You are not allowed to have 0 in the denominator. So when you have variables that are in the denominator, you do need to check them. So on this problem here, it would be all real numbers, but x cannot equal negative 1. All right, so x cannot equal negative 1. All right, let's keep going. Next one. Example 4 is extreme solutions. Whoops. Yeah, always check your answer, especially when there's variables at the bottom. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to factor this first. This is going to be, I'll write it over here, 2 over, they both share a p. Factor it if you can. Makes life easier. Equals 3 over p times p minus 1. Okay, you guys, this is going to be a lot of work. And I'm so sorry, but it is what it is. We got this. So we are going to multiply this whole thing. Remember like what we did earlier when we're trying to find the least common denominators? They both have a p, so that's awesome. They both have a p. They both are going to have a p minus 2. They both are going to have a p minus 1. That's just what happens. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to take this whole thing and you're going to multiply it by the first fraction, okay? So in reality, these p's cancel, the p minus 2 cancels, and you're left with p minus 1. You're going to take that p minus 1 and you're going to multiply it by 2. Okay, that's what's left here. Then you're going to take that and you're going to multiply it by this other part here. The p goes away, the p minus 1 goes away, and the only thing left is 3 times p minus 2. Now, Storm, no. My dog is busy. What? You want to say hi? Here, Storm, come here. All right, she's like, no. Why doesn't she just come in? I'll rip her a little bit. Come here. All right. So now what you have to do is you have to distribute. So I'm going to distribute 2 times this, 2 times this, 3 times this, 3 times this. So I'm going to go over here because I ran out of room. I'm going to get 2p minus 2 equals 3p minus 6. Storm. So remember, you need to make sure you get numbers on one side, letters on the other. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I'm going to minus 2p from both sides. So I get 4 equals p. Now, you need to check your answers. So I have something squared minus 2 times something equals something squared minus something. And, uh-oh, I ran out of room. Let me see what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to put in here, there's a 2 up on this one, sorry, and then there's a 3 up on this one. So I got 4. So I'm going to put 4 in here. So I get 2 over, that gives me 16 minus 8. So 2 over 8 is 1/4 equals, put 4 in here. That gives me 3 over 16 minus 4, which is 3 over 12. Now, this is a fraction equal to a fraction. It doesn't look like they equal to each other. However, when you can always check fractions like this. 12 times 1 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Since these two here equal, it works. All right? So p equals 4. Always check your answers, though. All right, this next one is a killer problem. Is this our last one? No, it's not. So I'm wondering if I should stop it. However, all right. I'm trying to do 2 things at the same time. Got 12 minutes. I don't know if I can do this in 3 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here and I'm going to wait to video B, okay? And I hope you guys have a great night. Make sure you check out 6.6 video B, and it will be up here shortly.